erupts into absolute chaos as Nick Aldis stands in the center of the ring, microphone trembling in his hand, and the words that just left his mouth hang in the air like a death sentence. "Drew McIntyre, you're fired." The crowd's reaction is deafening, a mixture of shocked gasps, furious boos, and disbelieving screams. Drew McIntyre, the Scottish warrior, the man who has bled for this company, who has sacrificed everything for WWE, stands frozen at the top of the ramp, his face a twisted mask of rage and disbelief. This isn't just another storyline twist. This isn't just another worked shoot. What you're about to witness is the most explosive, controversial, and downright insane moment in Smackdown history, and if you're not absolutely furious right now, you haven't been paying attention. Before we dive deep into this absolute dumpster fire of a decision, smash the like button right now because this story is going to make your blood boil. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because Ring Rumble is your only source for the real story behind wrestling's most shocking moments, and drop a comment telling us whether you think this is the biggest mistake WWE has ever made or if there's something else going on behind the curtain. Trust me, you're going to want to stick around for this one because what happened after the cameras stopped rolling will leave you absolutely speechless. Let's rewind to understand how we got here. Drew McIntyre has been on an absolute tear over the past year. The man has been delivering 5-star matches, cutting promos that make grown men cry, and carrying Smackdown on his broad Scottish shoulders like Atlas holding up the world. But here's where things get interesting, and here's where your anger should start building. Despite everything Drew has done, despite the merchandise sales, despite the crowd reactions that shake the rafters every single time his music hits, WWE management has consistently overlooked him. Time and time again, we've watched as Drew has been passed over for championship opportunities, shoved into meaningless feuds, and treated like yesterday's news when he should be the face of the entire company. And Nick Aldis? The SmackDown general manager who just made the most boneheaded decision in sports entertainment history? Let's talk about his track record for a second. Since taking over as GM, Aldis has been on a power trip that would make Vince McMahon in his prime look humble. He's been flexing his authority, making matches that nobody asked for, and seemingly going out of his way to make the lives of SmackDown's biggest stars absolutely miserable. But this? Firing Drew McIntyre live on television? This crosses a line that can never be uncrossed. Here's what happened leading up to that fateful moment. Drew had just finished an absolutely brutal street fight against a roster member that left both men broken and bleeding in the middle of the ring. The match was everything we love about professional wrestling: hard-hitting, emotional, and real in a way that transcends the scripted nature of the business. Drew won, barely, crawling to his feet as the referee raised his hand in victory. The crowd was on their feet, chanting his name, showering him with the respect and adoration he's earned through years of dedication and sacrifice. But then Nick Aldis's music hit. The arena went silent. That's never a good sign when a GM's music interrupts a moment of triumph. Aldis walked down that ramp with a smirk on his face that made everyone watching want to reach through their screens and wipe it off. He entered the ring, microphone in hand, and stood face to face with Drew McIntyre. The tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. Drew, exhausted and battered, stared at Aldis with a mixture of confusion and growing anger. What could Aldis possibly want in this moment? That's when Aldis started talking, and oh boy, did he have something to say. He began listing off every single time Drew had disrespected authority over the past few months. Remember when Drew refused to back down from that confrontation with management backstage? Aldis remembered. Remember when Drew called out the booking decisions on social media? Aldis definitely remembered that. Remember when Drew stood up for fellow roster members who were being mistreated? Yeah, Aldis remembered every single instance, and he had been keeping score. The crowd started booing immediately because everyone watching knew where this was heading. This wasn't about Drew being disrespectful. This wasn't about Drew being unprofessional. This was about a man with power feeling threatened by someone who refused to bow down and kiss the ring. This was about ego, pure and simple. And as Aldis continued his speech, getting more animated with every passing second, Drew's expression changed from confusion to realization to pure, unadulterated fury. Then came the words that sent shockwaves through the wrestling world. Drew McIntyre, effective immediately, you are fired from WWE. The arena exploded. Not in the good way. Not in the entertaining way. The crowd erupted in genuine anger, throwing trash into the ring, chanting obscenities at Aldis, and making it crystal clear that this was not the outcome anyone wanted to see. Drew stood there, mic in hand, and for a moment, it looked like he might physically attack Aldis right then and there. The security team rushed down to the ring, forming a barrier between the two men, but Drew wasn't moving. He wasn't backing down. He just stared at Aldis with a look that could melt steel. But here's where it gets even more insane. As security tried to escort Drew out of the arena, he grabbed a microphone and delivered what might be the most intense, raw, and emotionally charged promo of his entire career. With tears of rage streaming down his face, Drew talked about everything he had sacrificed for this company. He talked about the years he spent rebuilding himself after his first run ended in disappointment. He talked about coming back stronger, better, and more determined than ever. He talked about the wrestlers in the locker room who were too afraid to stand up for themselves, and how he had become their voice. And then he looked directly at Nick Aldis and said something that made everyone watching gasp. "You think you've won? You think firing me solves your problem? I am the problem, Nick. I'm the problem because I refuse to play your political games. I'm the problem because I actually give a damn about this business and the people in it. But you've just made the biggest mistake of your career, because you've just unleashed something that you can't control anymore. You don't fire Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre quits on his own terms, or Drew McIntyre burns this whole place to the ground." The microphone drop heard around the world. Drew threw the mic at Aldis's feet and stormed out of the arena to the loudest ovation of the night. But that wasn't the end of the story. Oh no, not even close. Because what happened after Smackdown went off the air is where this story gets truly explosive, and it's something WWE absolutely did not want you to see. According to multiple sources backstage, Drew didn't just leave the arena quietly. He went straight to the locker room and delivered an impromptu speech to the entire roster. Wrestlers from both brands, legends, rookies, everyone gathered around as Drew laid out exactly what has been going on behind the scenes in WWE. He talked about the favoritism, the politics, the promises that get broken, and the talent that gets wasted because they don't fit someone's narrow vision of what a WWE superstar should be. And here's the kicker: multiple wrestlers were seen nodding in agreement, some were visibly emotional, and rumors are swirling that several big names are considering following Drew out the door. Social media absolutely exploded. Within minutes of the segment airing, Drew McIntyre and Nick Aldis were trending worldwide. Other wrestling companies started sending cryptic tweets, clearly trying to get in on the conversation. Former WWE superstars who left under controversial circumstances started sharing their own stories, creating a snowball effect of controversy that WWE's PR team is scrambling to contain. Tony Khan, the owner of AEW, posted a simple emoji, a thinking face, and the wrestling world collectively lost its mind speculating about what that could mean. But let's talk about the business implications here, because they're massive. Drew McIntyre is one of WWE's most valuable assets. He moves merchandise, he gets consistent reactions, and he's proven time and time again that he can deliver when given the opportunity. Firing him, whether it's a work or a shoot or somewhere in between, sends a message to the entire roster: step out of line, and you're gone, no matter how talented you are, no matter how much the fans love you. That's a dangerous precedent to set, and it's one that could have serious long-term consequences for the company. Industry insiders are reporting that several sponsors have reached out to WWE expressing concern about the segment. Not because of anything inappropriate, but because they're worried about the negative press and the potential backlash from fans who are genuinely upset about Drew's firing. WWE stock took a noticeable dip the morning after Smackdown aired, though it's too early to say if that's directly related to this storyline or just market fluctuations. Either way, the optics aren't great. And what about Nick Aldis? His social media has been bombarded with hate messages from fans who are absolutely livid about his decision. While it's important to remember that online harassment is never okay, regardless of the circumstances, it does show just how invested the WWE universe is in Drew McIntyre's story. Aldis has been playing the heel authority figure, but there's a difference between being a heel that fans love to hate and being someone that fans genuinely want to see removed from television. Right now, it seems like Aldis has crossed that line, and WWE may have underestimated just how beloved Drew really is. Here's what we know about what might happen next, and I want you to pay close attention because this is where your engagement really matters. WWE has three possible directions they can go with this storyline. Option 1, this is a work designed to create massive buzz and Drew will be back within a few weeks, probably with some huge storyline justification. Option 2, this is a workshoot situation where there's real tension backstage being played out on television, and the resolution is uncertain. Option 3, and this is the one that should terrify WWE management, this is a legitimate firing that they're trying to spin into a storyline, and Drew might actually be done with the company for real. The truth is probably somewhere in the middle, but here's why your voice matters right now. Wrestling is unique in that the fans have real power to influence the direction of storylines. If the backlash to Drew's firing is loud enough, if the ratings take a hit, if sponsors get nervous, WWE will pivot. They'll find a way to bring Drew back with his creative control intact, with better booking, with the respect he deserves. But that only happens if you make your voice heard. Comment right now telling WWE exactly how you feel about this situation. Tell them that Drew McIntyre is untouchable. Tell them that firing him is unacceptable. Make so much noise that they can't ignore it. Because at the end of the day, this is about more than just one wrestler or one storyline. This is about whether WWE is willing to listen to its fan base or continue making decisions that benefit management's egos over what's actually best for the product. Drew McIntyre represents something important in wrestling: authenticity, passion, and the courage to speak truth to power. If WWE is willing to fire someone like that, what message does that send to everyone else in the locker room? If you've made it this far, you're clearly as invested in this story as we are. Do me a favor, subscribe to Ring Rumble right now because we're going to be following this story every single day until we get answers. We're going to be bringing you exclusive backstage reports, analyzing every twist and turn, and making sure WWE knows that the fans are watching and we're not going to accept mediocrity. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single update, because trust me, this story is far from over. Share this video with every wrestling fan you know because they need to understand what's really happening here. And most importantly, drop a comment right now with your honest reaction. Are you Team Drew or Team Aldis? Do you think this is a work or a shoot? What would you do if you were in charge of WWE right now? The wrestling world is watching. WWE is at a crossroads, and Drew McIntyre's future hangs in the balance. This is the biggest story in wrestling right now, and you're part of it. Make your voice heard. Let's show WWE that the fans are the real power in this industry, and we're not going to sit quietly while they make decisions that hurt the product we love. Stay tuned to Ring Rumble for all the latest developments, and remember, in wrestling, anything can happen, but it's up to us to make sure the right things happen.